Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us and being here with us again for another wonderful episode of Secret Jews. Today we're going to share with you uncovering hidden Jewish history. On this episode, Evangelical Christians with Jewish Roots. Let's go ahead and give our sponsors their due. First of all, the wonderful documentary, The Secret Jews of Calabria. And we're actually going to give you a little peek inside this documentary today with a few clips for you. This documentary uncovered Jewish traditions hidden for over 500 years. If you want to find out how to get your copy of this documentary on DVD, or even how to have an event and host a viewing for your group or your organization, please visit RabbiBarbara.com and you'll be able to see more information on that. Carl Perkal, producer of The Secret Jews of Calabria and IbexMotion, where documentary film is used as a key to our past and our future. You can always email Carl at cperkal, P-E-R-K-A-L, at netvision.net.il. And Rabbi Barbara Aiello, Italy's first woman rabbi. Find out about all of Rabbi's wonderful services that she offers at RabbiBarbara.com. And the William David Company, we are the proud producers of Secret Jews. To find out more about all of your business marketing solutions, visit WilliamDavidCompany.com. Well, let's go ahead and bring on your co-host for today's episode, Rabbi Barbara Aiello. Welcome, Rabbi.
Thank you very much, and welcome to all of our viewers. And it's so good to be back with Dr. Randi and producer Carl. Hello.
Hi, everybody. And Rabbi, give us a clue. Where are you speaking to us from? Very relevant.
I am speaking from my rabbi's study, which is above the synagogue at Ner Tamid del Sud, in the mountains of Calabria, the instep of the Italian little village called Serrastretta.
So you have to bear with us if you ever see Rabbi disappear, or sometimes you lose a little bit of the syncing in the video, because she's literally on top of a mountain in these small villages in Italy, and I could tell you, having been there, the internet is basically like fishing wire. So if we lose them from time to time,
dial-up connection, ladies and gentlemen.
my 14-year-old was like being in hell with no internet everywhere we went through Italy. So so just bear with us if from time to time we seem to be doing okay, but just be aware of that. And Carl, you are joining us from?
I'm in Israel, and if I showed you out my window, I would be pointing in the direction of the ancient Roman town of Caesarea, which is really one of the, for anybody who's been in Israel or hasn't, as a matter of fact, really one of the great archaeological sites from the Roman times in Israel.
All right. Well, Rabbi, you going to start us off today? I think I'm very, very interested to hear this episode myself.
Yes, I am very enthusiastic about the evangelical Christians who live and work and worship all through these mountains, mountain towns, and and up and down the coast of Calabria, because many of them, and I would venture to say it could even be the majority of them, have found an attraction to evangelical Christianity because they have Jewish roots. Now that may seem unusual to you, but let me explain. When established Judaism was eradicated, was wiped out from Calabria during the time of the Inquisition, synagogues were taken over and by the Inquisition authorities, and they were turned into churches. Schools were disbanded, and people took their traditions not only into their homes, but into the basements of their homes, and often observed in secret. As the centuries wore on, we're talking about 500 years ago, and as the centuries wore on, for people to maintain some connection with Judaism via a book, what kind of a book could they have? Really, only the Christian Bible, the Old Testament, was what, of course, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, the 5 books of Moses, which comprise the Jewish Torah. If you wanted some connection with the written Jewish word, you turned to the Old Testament of the Christian Bible. And my husband had this experience as a boy. His grandmother taught him his Jewish history by reading the Bible stories from a Christian Bible that they had in their home. So when the evangelical movement took hold here in recent years, I would say back not more than 100 years ago, those with Jewish roots who may have heard some of these stories found an affinity in the evangelical church, because not only did they hear the stories, but the ancient Jewish holidays, the ancient that are described biblically in the 5 books of Moses, were observed and continue to be observed by the evangelical Christians today here in Italy.
I was amazed because when we made the film, I more or less knew the narrative, Rabbi, of the traditional Catholic Italians living in Calabria and who were kind of preserving Jewish traditions and so forth. So I saw that as, and people who were coming out of usually very Catholic normative homes. But I did not realize that there was a strong evangelical movement. And I know that the evangelical Christians are so connected to the Bible, and through the Bible to their faith, and through their faith to modern Israel. So we see in Israel all the time large groups, tourist groups of evangelicals, often from the United States, but from other countries around the world, coming to visit Israel. And I thought, okay, this is part of the story with these people who have such strong faith and are so loving of modern Israel. We have to get them to Israel. And we brought a small group of them, I think from one congregation. They were choir members. They sang beautifully, and they came and stayed. I gave them an apartment to stay in Jerusalem, and we managed to get a film crew together, and we filmed them as they were visiting Jerusalem. And I think we should take a look at a clip of them at the Western Wall, the Kotel, which apparently for them was just as meaningful as it might be for a Jewish visitor coming from New York or Los Angeles. They were really very touching. And later on we can take another clip, maybe you'll tell us more about them, Rabbi, with sharing some of their singing in Hebrew with us.
Abbiamo veramente sentito che c'era un legame profondo con questa terra.
I have had a wonderful experience over the years with this choir, and my first experience was the first Passover Seder, the first public Seder that we did in 2004 here in Serrastretta. And several members of the choir came to join us for the Passover meal, and they sang afterwards. And they sang beautifully in Hebrew, and they sang a number of songs that appealed to all of us. They sang Shalom Aleichem, they sang Lecha Dodi, and to hear these wonderful voices coming from these devout Christians. And the tie that we had between our two observances came directly from the parts of the Bible that we share. And it was lovely. And I've had an opportunity to hear them sing on other occasions. And Carl, you're absolutely right. They have an affinity for Israel that is shared by Jews as well, by dedicated Jews all over the world. And their emotional tie to our heritage is absolutely remarkable. Also, I want to mention that there is a sect here, a Christian sect in Italy called the Valdesian Baptists. It doesn't have anything to do with Baptists as we know them in the United States, but the Valdesian Baptists came from Germany, and they were persecuted and burned publicly at the time of the Inquisition, as the Jews were. And so there is a great affinity among the Jews of Italy for the Valdesian Baptists as well. And many times when I co-officiate a wedding with a Jewish and a Christian bride and groom. I often co-officiate with a Valdesian pastor, and we share many traditions, among them the tradition of the chuppah.
I'm thinking, speaking of languages that they sing in Hebrew, Rabbi, maybe they would like to sing in Ladino, in Jewish Spanish, to find one or two to add to their repertoire, or maybe they do.
Well, I have taught them Bendigamos, the Ladino Hallel, and it was just sitting around a table and there's Mirot, the songs after Shabbat dinner. We had some of the choir members join us for dinner one Shabbat, but that would be a really good idea to formally teach it and add it to their repertoire. Absolutely.
Did we see a clip? I think we're going to see also now a clip of them singing, of the group singing, or maybe their lead singer. Why don't we take a look at that as well?
Dove la corale canta, e questa corale canta in ebraico. Yerushalayim shel zah v'shel nechushet v'shel or alolecha shiraich ani kinor Yerushalayim.
I should mention, Rabbi, that for all of our viewers, if they go into your website, or if they go into secretjews.com or rabbibarbara.com, there's going to be a link where people can order and get the DVD of the Secret Jews of Calabria sent to them right by mail. And I think it's going to be really a very enriching 50 minutes for people to hear all these stories and pull together in a really well-made film.
I had an experience with one of the choir members not long ago who mentioned her happiness at finding the Evangelical Christian Church here in Calabria, of which there are many branches. And she said wistfully, if there had been any Judaism here, I know that's where I would have gone. And that, to me, speaks volumes, because it reminds me how open and welcoming we Jews must be to those who want to come home. Right now, around the world, there tends to be some suspicion on the part of established Judaism about B'nai Anusim, about those who have hidden Jewish roots, and how dedicated are they to discovering their roots? How Jewish do they want to be? Are they really Jewish? I had a very unfortunate exchange with a rabbi one time who said to me, the only real Anusim Jews are the dead ones. And I thought, sometimes my Italian isn't so good, so I had to ask him to repeat. And that's what he said. He said, well, let me explain to you what I mean. Those who refused conversion, those are the real Jews. Those are the ones who remain Jewish. Those families who accepted forced Christian baptism, well, they became Catholic and they were no longer Jewish. This is the kind of thing that strikes me, as in terms of my own work, that we have to dispel, we have to work against, and extend the hand of Jewish welcome to those who would be Jewish only if they could, and if the Evangelical Church has been a home base for the people that we see in the film, the choir members, the choir directors, because they feel they can connect to Judaism and are accepted and welcomed. This is a very, very important lesson for all of us Jews.
And I want to say, Rabbi, it's as Jewish can be. If we look back to the story of Ruth in the Bible, all she had to do in order to tie her fate to the fate of the Jewish people was to say, your people are my people, and your God is my God. And with that, she, in effect, not only could she come back with her mother-in-law to live with the family in Bethlehem, but she becomes the grandmother or great-grandmother of King David. So what is the lesson? The lesson is that the real test of whether you're Jewish or not is your simple determination to become part of the people. It's not a DNA test at all. It's really about as spiritual a test as there could be. And if you pass that test, you're in.
That's right. That's right. And the wonderful book written not long ago by Rabbi Waletsky, who the title of the book says it all, Opening the Gates, and that there are many, many people, he says, that would be Jewish if only we extended the hand of welcome to them. I feel that the Evangelical Church here in Calabria has done what we Jews should have been doing years ago. I'm so glad I'm here, and I'm so glad that I can offer Judaism to these same people. However, I would never ask them to leave their church. I would just be open and welcoming to them if they chose to explore. And but for those who have not found a religious home, it is incumbent upon me to make sure that the Judaism we offer here is accessible to everyone.
And Rabbi, do you find that some of these groups actually seek out your knowledge and your expertise to be exposed to, the information that you have?
Absolutely, absolutely. I am asked to speak at evangelical events more often than I am at any other event, including Jewish events, because being not only the only woman rabbi in Italy, but the only non-Orthodox rabbi in Italy, I have no relationship with my rabbinic colleagues, and for obvious reasons. But with the Christian community, the evangelical community, and the Catholic community, there are people that are hungry to understand the roots of their religion. Pope John Paul II opened the door when he said that the Jews are the older brothers and sisters, I fratelli maggiori, of the Christians, and that we need to, speaking, Pope John Paul II speaking, said we need to learn from the Jewish people. And so that has indeed opened the door for me all over Italy. And I accept any and all of the requests that I get as much as I can possibly do, because I know there are people out there hungry to reconnect with their Jewish traditions.
And they could not approach one of the other more religious or more Orthodox rabbis to come and share some of this historical information. That would not be either that wouldn't be an approach they would make, or it wouldn't be well received and a rabbi attend.
Generally speaking, the rabbis in Italy tend to serve only the Jewish community. Not all of them, of course, and some more than others. Some are more accessible to the Christian community than others. I feel that my accessibility has kind of pushed the envelope a bit, so that my rabbinic colleagues in the Orthodox community feel that they need to do a little more than they have been doing. And for that, I'm grateful. If I've been able to facilitate even a little bit of that change, I think that's a good thing. But the understanding of the Christian community that may have once been Jewish comes primarily from me. The explanation of Judaism from a Talmudic point of view, a legalistic point of view, often comes from my Orthodox colleagues.
So they're actually coming and they're accepting of the fact that their background has some Jewish historical, basis to it, and they're looking for the validation of that to include in their current religious beliefs.
They're looking to understand their history, so they can understand their past, so they can forge understand their past, so they can forge a more spiritually guided future. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to become Jewish. But it means that for many people who have Jewish roots, they want to understand why their family was so different. They want to understand who they are, what they were. Many people that I meet, especially younger people of means, not the elderly here who would have a tough time traveling, but the younger educated people of means who go to Israel just feel an immediate connection to Israel. And just like I think you found that, Carl, with the choir members that came, there was such an affinity. It's almost indescribable, and that, I think, is very, very healthy. It's very healthy. It's also good sociologically for Europeans, especially Italians, being among those among the European community, to feel an affinity for Israel and to feel supportive toward Israel. This is very important.
Fabulous. It's an opportunity to say that a lot of this comes out in the film, The Secret Jews of Calabria, and people can get a peek into it and order the DVD on Rabbi Barbara's website. And this is it. We were so pleased to have them come to us. Maybe there's another group to bring over, Rabbi. We'll coordinate together. Well, I don't know if people have the wherewithal with the economic situation, but it would be fabulous to bring a whole group over and arrange some events for them and some meetings and so forth. I'd be happy to help.
Well, and you have to film it, right, Carl?
Oh.
And Ibex will film it.
Absolutely. We'll find a way to get it out to a wider audience.
In terms of economics, we're only from Lamezia Terme Airport here. We're only 1 hour from Tel Aviv, and in the summer there are 2 flights a week, going and returning. And yes, the going to Israel among the Catholics. Of course, the Catholic Church is stronger in Calabria than it is anywhere else in Italy, and so making these pilgrimages and missions to Italy is a very important part of Catholic life here in the South. As a matter of fact, the priest in our town took a number of his parishioners with him to Israel last summer. Wanted me to go along, but I had my usual group of bar bat mitzvah students who came for their ceremonies and my interfaith wedding, so I couldn't go.
Next time.
Next time, let's do it.
All right, everyone.
Okay.
Well, another wonderful episode, and we're gonna have Rabbi share any final thoughts that she has.
There are so many people who have strong ties to Judaism, whether it is strong family ties, strong ties in terms of interest, feeling spiritually connected to Israel, and being open and welcoming to all of these people is very, very important to all of us modern Jews.
And Carl, any last thoughts you want to share with us?
I think that we have to remember that it is not just a slogan to say that the Jewish people gave monotheism to the world, and the offspring were both Muslim and Christian religions that grew out of Judaism. And there's a rocky road of history, but you can't get away from it. That we gave some, as Jews, we gave something, and we take something back from all of this. It's kind of a process. So I'm very enthused, also with the evangelical story here. I'm very touched by it.
All right. Well, thank you both for bringing us another wonderful episode of Secret Jews. Today we were talking about evangelical Christians with Jewish roots, and join us again for another in our series of Secret Jews, where we're uncovering hidden Jewish history. We'll see you on the next episode.